Hi there. In today's webinar, we are going to be covering a couple of tips from actual deans in college admissions that we've spoken to in the past several years. And so just to give you some context, my name is Ishan and I am the founder, CEO of Synocate. Synocate stands for Synthesize, Innovate, and Educate. We are a online college counseling marketplace that helps high school students get into college. So we help 7th through 12th grade as well as transfer students through the college admissions process. We've got a team of over 100 counselors and editors as of mid-2017, several of whom have spent over 10 years in admissions offices like at Stanford and Harvard, Dartmouth, MIT, Columbia, and many more. And so we brought these folks together and we decided to present some tips, some insider tips to the college admissions process to you. And so let's start with the Dean of Grinnell, which is a great kind of middle of the line target school for a lot of our students. Here's some key points that they've told us. Live who you are. Don't fake who you want to be, and don't apply unless you have strength in that field. So a lot of times we see students who are interested in computer science or who want to study medicine but have experience in another field in high school. We tell those students to, first of all, be careful if you're applying in an impacted major. And second, make sure your story aligns with what you've actually done. Allow the readers to make their best judgments, and what that means for us practically as applicants is applied to a lot of schools. 15 to 25 is normally what we recommend and require for our students. And they're not looking for students to be larger than life. So we had at Synocate here a small round table of these deans. And this was something that a lot of the admissions officers and deans recognized and agreed with. And finally, describe in your own words who you want to be. Not your parents, not your teacher, not what you think the admissions office wants to be. And this might sound like common sense, but it really isn't. A lot of students fall under this pressure, and it's not just students in high school. I see students who come to us wanting career or resume help. They have the same needs and they have the same collective pressure. So if you can be genuine, which means being authentic, you probably will be able to stand out. Here's another university, Dean of University of Vermont. We spoke to him, and at the end of one of the essays, he noticed that the essay had my son in it. So it said, I was very enthused to go to University of Vermont. This was great. And then at the end, it said, my son really wants to attend. And it was obvious that the mom of this student had written the essay. And this is something that we do not condone. We do not allow with our students. Our students have to write their essays. And it's good to get your parents' advice and your friends' advice. But at the end of the day, this is your essay. And a lot of the times, our editors, we have an essay editing tool here at Synocate. They actually tell our students to just focus on telling your voice. And that is surprisingly hard to do in today's world of becoming all packaged. And it's about balancing a level of honesty, and students must be involved, and not just involved, they must be the ones actually writing their applications. Here's a really great interview we did with Eric from University of Pennsylvania. And I'll give you some comments and some commentary around these bullet points. Make sure that you're applying to the select list of schools that is right for you, right? So he actually doesn't like our strategy of having our students apply to 15 to 25, but it all makes sense to us. Acceptance rates are plummeting, and our students cannot concentrate their eggs in one basket. What he actually means here in the first two bullet points, make sure that you really know what schools you're applying to and why you're applying to them. And if it's more selective, that does not mean it's right for you. So just because it's in the top 20 of US News doesn't mean you have to go there or even have to apply. So we've got plenty of students with 3.5 unweighted GPAs or even perfect GPAs, but really no supporting extracurricular activities. And they're trying to apply to UPenn and other schools like this, and it's just not a good fit. Our chances are 1 to 5% a lot of times. And we like to throw it into the reach schools, but if we're going to do that, then we have to have 15 to 25 schools. And generally, that's what we end up doing with students. But these first 2 points are really, really thoughtful comments from Eric. You have to be honest, right? Dig deeper, and that's what the admissions process is about. And so in my book, The Applicant, I write about how to dig deeper. And at Synocate, with a lot of students, that's exactly what we focus on. You might be president of the debate club, but there are 100,000 debate clubs in the United States. How do I measure your debate club presidency versus another? It's more about how that debate club impacted you rather than what you actually did. You don't have to be winning Intel competitions or going nationally, but what you do have to be doing is thinking about this. Thinking from 9th, 10th, 11th graders, we love to work with those students, and even 12th graders, why are you doing what you're doing? And at Penn and at many schools, they love geeking out over high school curricula. So what they've learned is that physics is super important in high school and is critical for engineering. So if you say you're going to study engineering, but you haven't done AP Physics or Physics SAT 2, that's a red flag. So think about your interests well in advance of applying. Make sure you back those up with the right courses and right extracurriculars, and be authentic. The 3 key points here from Eric at UPenn. Now, Dean of Brandeis, right? The committee is where they weigh in on applicants. And so admissions officers get these read cards. They will basically rank different applicants, and then the committee is when they all sit together and they decide who to admit. Once you get to committee at Brandeis, and at many more of these schools that admit 50% plus candidates, more often than not, the students are offered admission. So if there are enough positive viewpoints, it often is a tipping point, and that does not mean a majority. It could even mean 1 or 2 people being super enthusiastic about who you are. And so students are like puzzles that you're trying to understand. And you have to understand them within 20 to 25 minutes. You go to committee, you have 1 to 5 minutes to really discuss yay or nay. Is there enough positive energy in the room? Accept, deny. That's kind of how this process works. And now let's look from the Dean of Berkeley. They're looking for change agents in our society, not just from the social perspective, what they're known for, but change agents in the right field. So they do a holistic review of the applicant. That means, AKA, focus on the essays. Personal application and essay is so important at UC Berkeley. Even though they're getting 20, 30,000 applications, this is the make or break. And Berkeley has really in the last few years transcended from a good state school to a phenomenal school. And they train over 100 readers, many part-time seasonal readers, to actually evaluate the students. Here's a common error students make, and we discussed this with the deans, the activity section. There are only 168 hours in a week, and many students are putting more hours than exist in the week in their extracurricular section. Don't do that. Check for this. Another error. Do not let your parents write your application. It's clear in the writing, and it can easily be detected. So instead, focus on getting your voice out there, thinking deeply, brainstorming with your parents. Who am I? What are my strengths and weaknesses? One of my idols, Richard Branson, always has something called the mom test when he starts a new business. Mom, does this make sense to you? Do you like this? Is this something honorable to do? You can also do the mom test here in college admissions. And here are some general tips from the admissions officers we've spoken to and we like talking with. There's a movement towards test optionality. That means the tests are not required. One of the biggest movers recently was George Washington University. That means the essays actually become very important if test scores aren't considered. But at the top 20, we believe that universities will always need more data points to differentiate candidates. So focus on the whole process, especially if you're aiming for the top 20. And admissions officers will spend 15 to 25 minutes on your case. They're trained to get that number down. So you have to be succinct. You have to be honest. It's almost like poetry. Letters from politicians, deans, presidents do not make candidates as much as you would expect. And sports are great, but they are binary, literally binary. Oftentimes these admissions officers have a separate team of readers for Division I, Division II athletes. But really, you have to be honest with yourself. Are you simply a high school athlete, or are you going to become a premier college and maybe professional athlete? And that's a binary choice. That doesn't mean working out isn't a good thing, or going for a run, or going for a walk. It means you have to focus on your strengths and be honest with where you are. Additional letters usually don't help and sometimes come off as overcompensating. And again, focus on the essay, the essay, the essay. It is so important to craft that story because that is where most admissions officers are really focused. So again, I wanted to give you a quick background on Synocate. We started in 2009 from a Stanford dorm room. I'm Ishan. I'm the founder of Synocate. We have a team of over 100 editors and counselors who help students online through the college admissions process. We help 7th through 12th graders, transfer and graduate students, and we'd love to work with you. So if you're interested, you can visit this website, Synocate, synocate.com, and you can check out our packages. You can check out how we work with students, and we'd love to talk to you. Thanks so much.